As Richo would know, in politics, you ignore the public at your peril. I wrote a long piece in yesterday's Daily Telegraph in Sydney about this nonsense of net zero carbon dioxide emissions by 2050. As you know, Anthony Albanese provided no costings, no details, no nothing. And as Mark Latham has said, the reason is simple: the cost will be horrendous. In my piece in the Daily Telegraph, I spelt all of that out, what it means for the electricity industry, for transport, for agriculture and for the economy. It's all there in detail. But I thought tonight I'd just share with you what the punters are saying, because the response out there in Voterland, on Struggle Street and in the pubs, the response tells us that Anthony Albanese and perhaps his party, even this far out from the next election, have signed their political death warrant. I just thought I'd share with you some of the comments. Jim says Anthony Albanese is reported as saying the commitment requires us to take account of the emissions here in Australia, not the emissions emitted by other countries when, for example, they buy our coal. He says if this is Labor's policy, what a pack of hypocrites they are. It's all right for the rest of the world to burn our coal, but we can't. Rob says it beggars belief that advocates for a net zero emissions target by 2050 have no idea how it should be achieved, what it would cost, or what negative implications for the world's economies would arise. Denzel writes, Anthony Albanese's obfuscation shows he's got no idea what net zero emissions by 2050 means. Indeed, one wonders if this is just a political ploy that will never be carried out. But it does provide an excellent opportunity to pressure the Labor Party to share its analysis. It's preposterous to propose the most disruptive change to society in the history of this nation without supporting details. Jerry, where do Albanese and others think our standard of living has come from since World War II? Mining and agriculture have made us the lucky country, and now they want us to throw that away so we can say we've saved the planet. It's just a load of rubbish, and Labor is already doomed at the next election. Phil writes, all this pain, or intended pain, for zero result. China and India and most of the other countries signed up for Paris are not decreasing their carbon dioxide emissions, but increasing them. Nothing Australia does will change that. Irrespective of whether or not you believe there's a climate emergency, Australia can't change the climate. Pretending otherwise is lunacy. Gary writes, sending us broke to save the world by reducing our minuscule contribution of 1.3% of 3% of 0.04% of an imaginary worldwide problem doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you get right down to it, especially when those in government don't know how much it will cost us to act now, but they do know it'll cost us 200 times more not to act at all. Which of their staffers figured that one out, I wonder? Anthony, Alan, I always like the analysis you undertake and the quoting of the outcomes. I agree that these people are alarmists, and if we follow their logic and close down all the industries, mining and everything that they want, then we'll be living like those in the 18th century. They never tell us the costs to lifestyle, as you have so well pointed out in your article. Your figures on agriculture and transport are compelling. The short-term impact on the economy, cost of living and lifestyle will be enormous. And for what? So those like Turnbull can increase their wealth by selling a false promise. Our weather has forever changed. 2 ice ages when there was no mining, followed by a warming period each time. Why? I despair at the climate religion. And William, Anthony Albanese and Labor just signed their political death warrant with this silly policy. Australians are not fools. They'll assess the consequences of such a foolish statement and reject it at the next election. Now, look, this is just a snapshot. And for the sake of our country, we must hope that Australians are not fools